story highlights what people care about most in gun policy debates has not been well studied. New research finds moderate evidence supports establishing background checks to reduce gun homicides. CNN The real effects of most gun laws are unknown due to a scarcity of evidence, a new and far-reaching systematic review of U.S. gun policy finds. The analysis, which was intended to seed the gun debate with nonpartisan data, did, however, find credible evidence that child access prevention laws reduce unintended firearm injuries to children. These laws, which require guns to be stored safely, also reduce self-injuries and suicides, say the researchers at RAND, a nonprofit research organization. Access prevention laws reduce unintended firearm injuries to children and also reduce self-injuries and suicides, the evidence suggests, researchers at RAND found. We don't call it strong evidence, we call it supportive evidence, said Andrew Morral, the project's leader and a behavioral scientist at RAND. It's not like the level of evidence we have that smoking causes cancer, for instance. Trump repeatedly upends GOP lawmakers in gun session. The effects of these same laws on defensive gun use, when a crime victim shows or uses a firearm in self-defense, remain unknown. Crucial missing evidence results in an incomplete portrait of what might happen if access prevention laws were to be passed throughout the nation. Read more. If there's been an impasse for decades and the impasse turns on matters of fact that could be resolved, said Morral, then it makes sense to do more research, find the facts and resolve the issue. Not well studied. The passionate clash over gun policy served as an inspiration for Morral's 2 years of study. The existing uneven research and contradictory studies mean that two sides can then cherry-pick studies that happen to support what they already believe, he said. To find reliable information about the effects of different gun laws, Morral and his colleagues looked at thousands of studies and then winnowed it down to those that actually say something about what a specific gun policy may cause once it is enacted. Morral and his colleagues also conducted a survey of gun policy experts to understand where there are key disagreements on factual matters. Two big conclusions can be drawn from the results of the new research, he said. People are living longer, but violent deaths are on the rise. Most of the kinds of facts that people care about in these gun policy debates have not been well studied, said Morral. So we can't really say with precision what the effects of the gun policy would be on a whole range of things. Defensive gun use, for example, is a concern to gun owners. We found almost no research on how different policies might affect their ability to defend themselves, he said. A difference about facts. A second major conclusion is that the source of disagreement is not due to different values or desire to achieve different objectives, he said. We found some pretty good evidence that the difference between these groups is really a difference about facts. We created this online tool that allows you to explore the two different perspectives on what the effects of laws would be and how it might affect each state in the country, said Morral. Moderate evidence supports establishing background checks to reduce gun suicides and homicides and prohibiting purchases of guns by people with mental illness to decrease violent crime, the report found. Gun injuries fall during NRA conventions. Study says you can see some areas where there is very big differences in belief, said Morral, pointing to stand your ground laws, which have been passed in more than half the states. These laws protect the right to use a gun in self-defense when faced with a threat. Experts who favor what Morral calls permissive gun laws, those aligned with the National Rifle Association, believe stand your ground laws, if turned on in all 50 states, would result in a 4% reduction in firearm homicides, about 500 fewer homicides per year. By contrast, experts who favor restrictive laws, those aligned with the Brady campaign to stop gun violence, believe stand your ground laws would result in a 2% increase in gun homicides or about 300 more per year. One critic believes the new RAND report rests on two fundamentally flawed concepts. Florida shooting and the gun debate, live updates first, that advocates on all sides have a disagreement about facts, not about values or objectives, and second, that research being conducted in the area of gun control is objective, said.F. Paul Vallone, president of Grassroots North Carolina, a nonprofit gun rights organization. The new report fails to acknowledge the underlying and rarely stated objective of the gun control movement to end private gun ownership, said Vallone, who was not involved in the research. It was biased studies that led to the congressional decision to defund gun injury research, he said. Research that has been conducted on concealed handgun laws, for instance, has been discredited without proper assessment of merits and flaws, he said. Follow CNN Health on Facebook and Twitter. See the latest news and share your comments with CNN Health on Facebook and Twitter. Preservation of constitutionally guaranteed freedoms is not antithetical to community safety in the presence of rational, fact-based public policy, said Vallone. Heated though the argument may be, Morral believes both sides equally value the same goals. The number one objective for both groups is reducing firearm homicides, suicides, mass shootings and accidents, he said.